A San Diego man is killed just after moving to Arizona. How he was trying to just do the right thing before his death.
And a car slams into a man in Pacific Beach and sends him to the hospital with life-threatening injuries. The latest developments live from the scene. But first, a San Diego woman is mourning the loss of her only brother.
I feel like he died a hero. He tried to do the right thing.
Isaac Clark just moved from San Diego to Arizona when police say that he tried to stop vandals from targeting his friend's car. He was stabbed to death.
10 News reporter Michael Chen reveals the recent conversation his sister cannot get out of her mind.
I'm broken. I'm genuinely heartbroken.
A sister still mired in grief. A brother remembered.
He had a heart bigger than his being.
Last month, Isaac Clark moved from San Diego to Phoenix to be closer to his 4-year-old son. He had a job lined up doing event setup more than a week after this stadium photo was taken before an Arizona Cardinals game.
It just feels very surreal.
Clark found himself in a park around 1 a.m. His sister Amy says he was checking on 2 friends who had been evicted and were living in a car. Police say he heard a vehicle being vandalized and headed toward the sound before realizing it was his friend's car. That's when the suspects approached Clark, sparking a fight. Clark stabbed multiple times. He would die at the hospital.
I feel like he died a hero. He tried to do the right thing. He was trying to protect his friends.
3 people were arrested, the 2 men facing murder charges, the woman in the middle a hindering prosecution charge.
They took my one and only sibling, my one and only baby brother.
An emotional vigil held at that park a night after the incident. Clark's sister still haunted by their conversation about the violence in the world right before he left San Diego.
We were talking about we all just need to be more kind and we need to be more empathetic.
A kindness, she says, was nowhere to be found.
We need justice for him.
In that park early that morning.
We need to get justice because he has a 4-year-old son that now has to live the rest of his life without him.
Michael Chen, 10 News.
Police say the 2 men arrested are ages 24 and 18. Clark's sister says they were total strangers.
The San Diego City Council is all in on a 10-year plan to address homelessness. It voted to pursue the measure this afternoon. The Housing Commission says the plan can virtually eliminate homelessness among veterans as well as among children and teenagers. Now, it says the plan can also reduce San Diego's unsheltered population by half. The plan's cost is estimated at nearly $2 billion. Now, supporters of the plan say they were already paying for the problem.
As a person walking down the streets of San Diego, there's feces, there's urine. It's terrible. I don't want to smell it. Nobody really wants to smell it. But where are these people supposed to go if stores don't allow them to use their restrooms, restaurants don't allow them to use their restrooms?
Analyzing our resources and the investments that you're making in this.
All right, one issue there is still not clear where that money will come from, but there are 2 measures on the 2020 ballot that could bring in funding.
Well, a man is in the hospital with life-threatening injuries after a car slammed into him in Pacific Beach this afternoon. 10 News reporter Mackenzie Maynard is joining us now live from that busy intersection. Mackenzie, traffic now back to normal after the road reopened less than an hour ago?
Yeah, Kimberly, police tell us that man was standing here behind me on the center divide on Mission Bay Drive when that other car hit him and threw him into oncoming traffic.
When I hear something crash,
Jesus Ruiz was picking up his wife when he saw a man standing in the center divide get hit by this silver BMW. He says the pedestrian was thrown and hit his car.
and fly the body very higher, almost stop over my car in the back. He touched with a leg or something because I hear the noise. That's the reason I stopped.
That same BMW continued through the intersection and hit this white Ford Fusion moments later. It flipped onto its roof and crashed through the fencing at the Enterprise.
When I saw the car flipped upside down over in that parking lot, I knew it had to be really bad, because for a car to go over the fence like that or through the fence had to have been going really fast.
We now know the pedestrian hit is a 67-year-old man. He was immediately taken to the hospital with life-threatening head injuries, a broken pelvis, and other internal injuries. The driver driver of the BMW was not injured, but the driver of the white Ford Fusion was also taken away by ambulance.
Police have had this shut down for about 4 hours now, and definitely never seen anything like this before. It's very unlikely.
And traffic is back to normal. Police say they're still investigating. They haven't mentioned any charges at this point. We're now reporting live, Mackenzie Maynard, 10 News.
Mackenzie, thank you. A new law is giving thousands of Californians who claim that they were sexually assaulted as a child hope for closure. It used to be that victims of child sexual assault could only file a lawsuit against their alleged abuser until they were 26. Well, now, under this new law, they have until they turn 40. A local lawyer tells us this opens the door for hundreds of lawsuits.
I think we're going to have substantial numbers of cases, not just against the Catholic Church. This is going to be Boy Scouts, this is going to be schools, public and private. This is going to be youth-serving sports organizations. This is going to be other religious organizations.
California is the third state to now take this step. New York and New Jersey have both expanded their laws to give people until they are 55 to file.
Firefighters are making progress against two wildfires that devastated parts of Southern California last week. The Saddle Ridge fire in the San Fernando Valley is 43% contained. Investigators say that it started underneath a transmission tower, but an official cause hasn't been determined. It erupted Thursday night, burned 8,000 acres. It destroyed more than a dozen buildings and claimed one life. All evacuation orders have been lifted, but officials warn the air quality is still poor. Meantime, the Saddlewood fire is 94% contained in Riverside County. It burned just over 1,000 acres in Calamasa. 2 people were killed. A mobile home park where dozens of homes burned is closed because of health risks.
Investigators are working to figure out what led up to a fiery crash on the 5 that killed a driver early this morning. Investigators say that a tractor trailer hit a vehicle in southbound lanes near Camp Pendleton around 5 o'clock this morning. That pinned the car to the center divider and it then burst into flames. Firefighters found a body inside that car, but the victim's name has not been released.
The owner of a popular Iron Horse statue in Alpine believes a lot of planning went into stealing it. Rita Gallant says that the Iron Horse was taken in the middle of the night, a feat considering it's nearly 14 feet tall. It weighs 300 pounds. She didn't notice it was gone until days later, so she checked her surveillance tapes.
We believe they came in over the course of a couple of days. They had to remove some very large rebar wire that was in it, that's right here. So we had 4 of these in it to secure it into the ground.
Gallant bought the statue 15 years ago and set it up at her store, Double S Tack and Feed. Since then, it's become something of an icon in the neighborhood.
Researchers at UCSD are about to take a closer look at the medicinal properties of cannabis, specifically CBD. Now, the UT reports the state is giving the school $3 million to expand its research. Scientists will look at CBD's use in treating psychosis, arthritis, and insomnia, among other disorders. UCSD has been studying various aspects of cannabis and marijuana for several years.
MTS says more people rode public transportation on Free Ride Day this year over last. The transit agency says nearly 400,000 people took a ride on a bus, trolley, or train on October 2nd. Well, that's true for the North County Transit District as well, which says it saw a jump in ridership. The agency says support from city leaders, local universities, and the Navy helped make Free Ride Day a success this year.
Change makers in local government, nonprofit, and business sectors were honored for their commitment to diversity and inclusion. Today marked the Rise San Diego's 5th anniversary Diversity and Inclusion Awards luncheon. More than 24 people and organizations were nominated for different leadership awards. Those 4 categories were prosperity, security, economy, and democracy. So we caught up with 2 men from the Dojo Cafe, which is a small trailer converted to a coffee place and hangout for the City Heights community.
That's the plan, is to have a dojo in anywhere there's an underserved community around the United States of America to provide opportunity, upward mobility.
And they got a special award after being nominated in every single category. Doing great work out there.
Wow. Yeah, they're changing a community.